plan points to two explicit mandates that all landlord and planning permissions must be obtained prior to application. Low Ackworth Community Association's own delivery plan admits they do not have planning permission and will only seek it in phase 2 after the contract is signed. Furthermore, Section 3 explicitly forbids incomplete applications. This submission completely lacks a named project manager or a 3-year operational budget. By the clerk's unofficial guidelines, this application is legally incomplete and procedurally invalid. I move to defer this item immediately for an external compliance audit and call for a recorded vote on the standing order 3.
Well, I'll certainly give you the recorded vote, that's no problem. Are you okay just giving them the...
I just need to check it in line.
Sarah, yeah.
There seems to be some confusion in these meetings sometimes. It's happened before about what a point of order is, because yet again, the bureaucrat, section 1 of our standing orders, page 5, point P. During a debate on a motion, the council may interrupt only on the point of order or personal explanation, and the councillor's interruption will stop speaking. The councillor raising a point of order should identify the standing order which they consider to have been breached, or specify the other irregularity in the proceedings of the meeting they're concerned by. So what Stephen is doing is not moving a point of order. He's trying... Can I finish speaking, please? He's trying to, put in a whole different proposal, really, as a point of order. So I don't think this is a point, and I don't think it's valid.
So just...
Valid, because I'm young chair, you will do this. But I just wanted to point that out.
First of all, we did ask the question, we are on item 52, so I'm just going to reread item 52. So, to receive further information from Low Ackworth Community Association, including a centre recovery plan and bank statements as requested, as part of the letter of intent approved in principle by Council at its meeting on 8th of June 2026, agenda item 24.3, and consider any further action required. So we are talking about the letter of intent and the bank statements and the plan that's being received. So, in my mind, I don't think the point of order stands on that agenda item. That's why we did query it before you wrote it out, and we did actually point out the agenda item to which we think it does apply. So therefore, I'm going to take Sarah's proposal of noting the response and receiving that plan and everything. So, I'm prepared to second that. But it doesn't relate to the item. I can't put it any other way. So therefore, I've made my ruling on that. I'm going to move. I don't see how a letter of intent relates to this item. Again, we did point this out. So, I'm prepared to second that proposal. I'll move to a vote. Those in favour of noting and receiving the plan and noting it. 5 in favour. Votes against? Or against? Thank you. That's item 52. So item 53. To receive an update on the demolition and removal of the derelict building on Town End Plainfield, Low Ackworth, in relation to Council Ayrshaw's proposal from 13th October 2025, meeting agenda item 94.3, and authorise the release of the approved SIL funding from Ackworth Parish Council to Low Ackworth Community Association. So, I mean, if we're ready, right. So this is where I think your standing order applies. Do you want me to put this standing order to this item? Well, it's not up to me. I'm not moving the standing order. Do you want? Well, we've had the statement already, so we've already heard it. So I'm going to say to you that that's the standing order on item 53.
I would just refer to the funding agreement. So I'm not, it's still confusing, Chair. So if you want to take it, that's out of that wording relates to the funding agreement, which is on 54. I've pulled out the demolition separately to that because they are at the moment two separate items because we don't need planning permission as part of the demolition notice.
So that's
procedure.
So that's information provided in terms of.
Sorry, I'll just clarify.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Go ahead.
Say that they don't need planning.
Not to the knowledge, they need a demolition application under the Wakefield Council process, and that's what this item here, that's why they're separated. This item is about the demolition, not any planning, not any approval of the business plan, none of that, it's about the demolition.
Is it clear that there isn't planning permission needed for the elections?
The officer of the council, so you can take my word for it, that I've checked that and that's what I put on the agenda, that the section notice has been administered with the Ackworth Council in line with their process. Ackworth Council are the landowner, we have an implied tenancy at the moment on that whilst the new lease is pending. So it's the landowner that needs to process the demolition application, not the parish council.
Okay, so in my mind, it's a case of do we release the funding for still funding in order to get that building demolished and make the area safe. And I think, as you always point out to us, Rod, we need to take safety extremely seriously. And we always do, but I think that we need to move this forward and get that building removed. That's what I would recommend. So I would recommend and propose that we release the still funding for that demolition so that can happen.
I second that.
Sarah seconded. That's a proposal on that. I'll bring you in. I'll bring Susan because Susan was speaking of that.
For me, it's about the integrity, stating that you are going to use your own funds as an organisation to have something demolished verbally, and then to ask that funding now comes from council. There's a lack of integrity there, and also it seems surprising that as we have put in our own risk assessment that it was agreed in May, only 2 months ago, that LACA would meet that cost, and now that's all turned around. And it's difficult to understand why as well, why they're not funding the demolition. I know you're talking about pots of money, but when you pledge to do something, then if there's any integrity there, you do what you said you're going to do.
So I understand the criticism of that. I think that's quite fair. But I would say that in terms of the demolition of the building, this really does need to happen. As a parish council, perhaps not all agree, but we have allocated that still funding to this project and to that organisation. And so therefore, I think if I would say as a parish councillor, as chair of this parish council, I'm happy to say that I want Lower Ackworth Community Association to do this as quickly as possible, and therefore if that means using the still funding to make it happen first, so that is the changing circumstance. It's the urgency of the situation, and therefore I'm certainly pushing for that, and therefore that's what I think the change is. And yes, I do accept the criticism, but that's what I do think that's what it's about. Yeah.
That it's clear that there are funds available in the organisation, and it seems surprising from that point of view that they haven't done it before now, if the building is not so, as they have the funds available. And again, that's integrity. So that's it. I'll leave it there.
I just think through this method it'll get done quicker. That's the information I've got. So I'll bring Sharon in.
Yeah, just to sort of answer Susan out on what you said. As far as the committee is concerned, we would be willing to pay for demolition. In fact, at our meeting last week, decided and voted and agreed that if the still funding for whatever reason wasn't available or couldn't be accessed, because of the state of the building, which has deteriorated really rapidly over about the last 3 months, without
It has, Sean, don't shake your head, it has.
That happened 3 years.
Hang on, Sharon's speaking, so.
So, and you know, like the parish council, we feel that we have got a duty of care, and it's been really, really frustrating for us. But if this still funding isn't forthcoming, we as a committee have agreed that we will pay for the demolition ourselves because the building is unsafe and we need it down as soon as possible. Okay.
So, Sean and then Andy.
We have the duty to protect public funding. We have a constitution that guarantees that Ackworth can run that specifically constitution doesn't guarantee that Ackworth Community Association can run that down there for 40 years.
I disagree with that comment, Sean. Andy?
Yeah, well, kind of following on from my comments in the last part.
Sorry,
I know the quotation for demolition includes VAT in addition to the 5,000 pounds shown. So obviously that makes quite a big difference to this amount. To a question, then I've got a proposal I've got to make. Are Low Ackworth Community Association VAT registered so that they can reclaim that?
We can take that now.
So, and there's a follow on from that, if you are VAT registered, are you intending on charging VAT and incentive use that would then enable offsetting any maintenance costs, but obviously increases the cost to anybody renting it? So that's the question. I'd like to make a proposal that the cost of demolition is covered by the Low Ackworth Community Association and that £5,000 is then allocated towards the internal fit-out stage of the proposed new building. So it's being clear that the self-funding is for infrastructure development, not infrastructure destruction. And so I would like to propose that we don't allocate 5,000 to demolition, but we do allocate that 5,000 to internal fit-out.
Right. Can I take that proposal and second, please? So,
You can, Chair, however, I have already asked Wakefield Council demolition comes under what we've allocated the sill for, and they have confirmed yes, which is why I put it on the agenda for it to be released as part of the sill money, because sill money also has an expiration date on it, and we do need to start spending some of this money. So whether the 5,000 is spent now, lawfully, or the 5,000 is spent at a later date on fit-out, there is an expiration date that is coming up. So I'd just like to say, yes, Chair, you can, if you want to make that proposal.
I will say that just to go through due process.
So I'm just going to note it down then. So your proposal that you had first and secondly was to release the 5
Yes.
demolition, and is that he is proposing is that LACA pay for the demolition, but the 5,000 is added to the back end of the project for fit-out. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's seconded by
Second,
Yeah, we've already got that.
second, that principle that will protect public funding.
Right. I mean, you're balancing public funding and public safety here, Sean, so you've got to pick a side on that. And you keep mentioning public safety, but you seem to negate it now this time. Right, moving to a vote then. Thank you. Moving to a vote. So, we'll take Andy's and Sean's proposal first. So, votes in favour, please, of that proposal. Or in favour. Votes against.
Can we record a vote, please?
It's too
5
late,
against.
Chair.
It's too late for that. The proposal that was put forward by myself and Sarah, so that's to release the funds in order to get the building demolished and get the space secure, so at least moving forward on this project and get to action and putting public safety first. Can I request a recorded vote on this about the safety and moving forward with this, please? Do I need a second for a recorded vote?
Probably best just to get one,
Yeah.
so I have to read something else.
Can I get a seconder for a recorded vote, please? Amanda seconded, and those in favour of a recorded vote? Full house on that. So that's going to be a recorded vote.
So we just need to take a vote now for the release.
Yes. So for the release of funds, so I'll start with Stephen. So for or against?
I'm against. I think the fact that
Against. Thank you. Sean's against. Susie, for or against?
Yes, please talk road and
Against. Andy, for or against?
Against?
Against. Sarah, for or against?
Oh, four.
For. Amanda?
For.
Sharon? John? For. And myself, for. Thank you. So that's me. Right, item 54. To receive and consider for approval a civil funding agreement outlining staggered funding release between Ackworth Parish Council and the Ackworth Community Association in line with civil funds approved by Council at its meeting on the 13th of March 2023 and the 10th of February 2025. Please, if you could.
I've included this on the agenda because it's been called into question quite a few times, statutory duty about public funds, which I also am accountant for public funds. After speaking in depth with the civil officer and doing my own research, it is the right practice to have a funding agreement in place. Now, it's really important to note out that we are preparing for a future sublease. We are not saying at this point we have a head lease, we are not saying we have a sublease. This is a proactive step in how the future will look. So I have put together this document which goes through basically all the different areas which the two parties will have to agree to in the future. I have been very clear in section 5 to state that if obviously council agreed on the previous item that the 5,000 would be immediately released. However, I have also stated that the rest is only once the sublease is executed. So therefore, no SIL release will happen until an approved sublease is in place. So I just want to make that really clear. I have looked at in line with the centre recovery plan and checked it, and actually staggering it in that way protects public money, which means that we have set stages where we can check where the project is, we can check that the right process has been taken through the LACA in appointing any contractors, and it gives us a little bit of control in place in agreement with LACA about staggering that money. This obviously at this stage is being presented to council for consideration and any action. If it is approved, we would then need to pass it over to LACA for those to review to make sure that they would be happy to agree. So approving tonight doesn't put the agreement in place. LACA would still need to have their time to review.
Excellent. Okay. On this, because of the information we've been provided with, I am going to move straight to a vote, and I am proposing that we accept that approval the fund and the standard staggered funding release between Ackworth Parish Council and the Ackworth Community Association. Especially since it's got to safeguard us, it's got to go to the local
Community Association.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I'm proposing that. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Amanda. Seconding. Okay, so I'm moving straight to a vote. Votes in favour then, please. 5 in favour. Votes against?
I've got questions, so I'm not voting for it.
4 against.
It's not
Absolutely.
the first question.
3 against. Well, it's in standing orders that we can move straight to a vote, so that's what I'm
to support it, but I've got questions.
So, how many were against?
3 against.
3 against.
1 abstention.
Sorry, I don't get
But we're just going over the same old arguments that we have done for 8 ages. So I think we've heard enough. We've just had 3 items for which has covered the same thing. Right, item 55. To note a supplier daily for the replacement of the Ackworth Parish front door, and consider delegating power to the Village Amenities Committee at its next meeting on 27th July to review new quotations and approve a supplier for installation before the next scheduled council meeting. Is there anything you'd like to write on that?
We did appoint a supplier. The supplier is now completely quiet on us. It's not responding after meeting with them, so it's not right to push forward with that supplier. I am conscious that we don't have a meeting in August for me to move forward. It's already been previously agreed and so we've got a Village Amenities committee meeting coming up, so it makes logical sense that they have to delegate card, which is why I put it on the council consideration.
Right, and again, I think that explanation covers that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So again, I'm going to propose that we give delegated powers to the Village Amenities Committee and give them the delegated powers to approve that, because it's it's already been approved, the supplier, I don't think it needs to go to full massive discussion. Do I have a second for that? John seconded. Votes in favour then, please, of that. Everyone in favour? Are you against, Stephen? Against?
Yeah, I think we should put that to the next meeting.
Okay, one against and everyone else in favour. Item 56, to consider options for a new parish council vehicle and determine the preferred vehicle fuel type and procurement method to enable further review of quotations at the next meeting of the council. So specifically what we need is whether we're going for electric or petrol or hybrid. So that's one part of it, and then the procurement method on that. Is there anything you'd like?
No, Chair, it was all of the pack, and like you say, so that I can then propose that in September on different model variants.
Stephen, yeah.
I've asked the caretakers, etc., usually for which they would prefer.
I have, yes. They would prefer a long wheelbase, which we actually do require a long wheelbase, that's valid. And the opinion for the fuel is mixed. Purely down to personal preference. Sometimes it's prefer EV, consumer preference. But however, the pack that I put together from a factual based point of view shows what our requirements are and information on what would be beneficial for taxpayers and or pre-tax payers and
Any other comments? Andy, yeah.
Sorry, I should have asked this before, but I didn't get into it. We've got the 5-year procurement cost comparison, but based on the diesel. I think it's